So, like I said, we will build a lot of these tools to help developers to make their life easy, and AI tools that will help them in their development process. Now, we largely believe that AI is not going to replace developers. AI is going to developers who don't use AI are going to be replaced by developers who uses AI. Now, for some of you on this call, you are new to open source, which means there are some fundamental things that you are supposed to learn. Some of these fundamental things have already, maybe some is something that you need to pick up very fast. Some are something that you can learn using 80/20. Please, once you sign up on Tublian, you have access to 80/20, and we have given free credits to all of you, at least 3 free credits. So let's say you want to learn GitHub to learn how to use GitHub for open source. Just go on 80/20 and type it in, and then it's going to help you to generate a roadmap for you to learn how to contribute to open source, how to contribute to how to use GitHub for open source, right? So I think some people are still in the on the Discord channel, talking on the Discord channel. I don't know. So what's the issue? They should be on this call. Okay. So don't hesitate to use all the tools. If you have any question, we have a dedicated Discord channel for everybody who is part of this internship. I am going to share the link to our Discord channel so you all are going to join the Discord channel. So this is like an overview of everything that we are doing. The next thing we are supposed to do is to talk about the internship and what we are doing, especially in this cohort, and most importantly, talk about the Tubian OS. And our CEO, Nilanjan, is going to be the one to do that. He's going to be the one to talk about this AI powered internship, why we are doing what we are doing separately this time. We've done it in the past, but this particular one is very special. Why it is special, he's going to talk about that. And he's going to talk about the Tubian OS, why we are even building that Tubian OS, because most people think of it as some people have told me personally that, oh, Precious, this is just generating code. Some people have said to me, oh, you people want to eliminate developers. But there is a reason why we are doing what we are doing. And recently, um, our developers here that they are even using Tublian OS to build Tublian OS by himself. But I mean, I can't talk about this thing because when Niels talks about it, he talks about it with passion, and I believe you guys are going to see the passion when it comes up in the next 15 to 20 minutes to talk about Tublian OS and Tublian AI powered internship. So, hi Neil, you want to go on to take that?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So all this while, I couldn't see your screen, by the way, Precious. Okay, let me share my screen here.
Oh, I don't know why that. Oh, so sorry about that. I'll try to fix.
You guys can see my screen.
Yeah, I
Give
can
me.
see
Okay,
it
cool.
here.
Thanks. Okay, beautiful. All right. So first, let's talk about the mechanics a little bit so that you guys are comfortable with the layout and understand. I believe some of you are very new to Tublian. For the rest, this might be repetition, so I apologize for that. So when you log in, you probably get some similar type of screen. Obviously, everybody's going to get a different layout because we believe in personalization. But overall, the structure is going to be very similar. What you see here, your score, this is what we call street cred. This is your score. Keep your eye on this score because this is what kind of, I'm assuming as you progress through your open source internship, the score is going to go up. This is kind of our secret algorithm that goes out and looks at your work and kind of measure the credit. So we call it a credit score for developers. The higher the score, the better it is. And I would encourage you guys to, as you gain your score, brag about it on social media. You should, because it's not easy to get Tublian street cred, by the way. I'm not the number one. There's someone else who have a higher score than me. Okay, so once you get in, obviously you're gonna I'm going to talk about paired requests, which might be very, very useful for you guys as we go through, because what I encourage we all to do, if we work together as a team, I think at the end of the internship, we're all going to turn out to be a better person or better developer. So we'll talk about this a little bit. But most important thing is that if you are in this call, you should have this sidebar enabled. If you're not, you should definitely reach out to Precious or me. Okay. Not everybody is going to have this link. Only people who got accepted going to get this link. The reason is not necessary. There are a few criteria that we have used to determine this. If you're interested, I can talk about that. By my intention, generally in the past, we have allowed lots of people to get in, but this time we limited that because there are certain things that we are experimenting with, and I thought it would be easier for us to have this kind of closed group working together sort of experience is better. So anyway, that's why we did the selection criteria. So we have a very small group this time. So I'm hoping every one of us will be able to complete this successfully. Anyway, so once you come in, we essentially split this whole thing into 4 weeks to kind of map the whole October month. So getting started will give you kind of a program structure. The first week, which is this week, should be well, I know some of you are new, so we'll be completely focused on, maybe I shouldn't say that, completely focused on the open source fundamentals. And then next week, we're going to be talking about, so this doing open source now is very different than how I used to do it in the past. So in week 2, we wanted to focus on, we have great tools with us right now. Why don't we use those tools? So from week 2, we're going to be heavily encouraging you guys to use AI copilots. Some of you are going to get access to our agent, use the agent, any tool, use Cursor, VS Code with Copilot, whatever tools you have to kind of empower yourself to proceed through this as fast as possible. Because why not, right? We have this tool. Why shouldn't we be using this tool? So for some of you who are new to this week 2, we're going to give you an overview of how you can use this, how you can augment your development workflow with AI. Week 3 and week 4, essentially, by end of week 2, you guys gonna have a fair bit of good idea about how open source works, what the communities looks like, how you make a pull request, what the feedback cycle looks like. So week 3 and week 4 is going to be like the most fun time. Essentially, roll your sleeves, contribute as much as possible. Okay. By week 3 and week 4, we hopefully you guys will have a project that you like, maybe 1 or 2 projects. Maybe you like because the problem they're solving is exciting. Maybe you like because it's a front-end project. Maybe you like because you know the maintainer. Okay, maybe you like because they like open source contributions. Whatever the reason, the strategy should be by week 3, have identified the project and focus on that project and contribute as much as possible. Okay. Now, the tracking aspect, in the past, we always had this question, okay, how will I know it's done? How will I know this is done? So we have automated this, obviously. So that means that every time you make a contribution, just because you raised a pull request necessarily doesn't mean we'll not recognize that. We'll only recognize it when your pull requests get merged. That is some sort of a wisdom of the crowd mechanism we use. What that means is that somebody has accepted your pull request. That means your pull request was good. That means you added a value. Then only we recognize that and give you straight credit. Okay, and this essentially happens every time you open a week. Our model's gonna run, figure it out. It goes out on the GitHub, checks your pull request status, and that's how it's determined. It's completely transparent and open. Okay. If you have a pull request that got merged, you will see that reflected on Tublian. If it's not, let me know. Okay. So it's nothing magic going on. Everything is very transparent, especially how we track this progress. So every week is pretty simple. Initially, we load heavy with the content because some of you are, like you said in the introductions, are very beginner. So these are our kind of curated list of blogs that some of the blogs that we wrote, some of the blogs we thought, hey, those are better than what we can write, we link to them. So those are pretty handpicked. When you're done with the content, we use a bit of an honest system here. If you're done with it, just click this and say mark completed, and we will believe you that you're graded. Okay. For the content, we use an honest system. Now for pull requests, these are every week you're going to get an assignment. Your assignment is going to pop up below this. For week 1, everybody got the same assignment. Okay, you have to do at least one of this. If you do 2, that's great. You have to at least do one of this. Each one of this is an open source project that we handpicked and we thought is easier to implement if you as a beginner. So you should not have much difficulty contributing to this. So first contribution is a project that recognizes first contributors, obviously. So go through this. When you open an issue, the issue layout is going to look like this. There will going to be project name at the top. If you click it, it will take you to the actual GitHub project. This is the project. Then it's going to tell you what to fix, how to contribute. If you contribute, you just click this. And here is one aspect that we do, which we call is an AI co-pilot for open source. So we have sort of an AI agent that kind of digest issues and gives you helpful instructions to how to solve that issue. The reason this is interesting is, so think of this, lots of you are very emerging developers, right? So think of this as an senior engineer guiding you to the process. This is how the real world works, right? You'll go to your lead engineer, say, how should I do this work? So the lead engineer, okay, do A, B, and C. This is how you should. So this is a helpful agent that breaks down your issues into smaller tasks. So it makes it easy for you to kind of understand how to implement them. Okay, all the issues are going to have this feature. We also have integrated, there's some I'm really excited about is now not many people have very powerful systems in their hand. Sometimes it's tricky to clone a repo. If the clone is a new word for you, don't worry, you will learn that this week. If you clone a repo to your local system, set up that repository, make sure you download all the dependencies. There are lots of steps involved when you try to contribute to open source project. And I'm pretty sure you guys will figure it out, but in some cases, some projects will have lots of system requirements, which might be not feasible for lots of people who doesn't have very powerful laptops. So we integrated these code spaces that allows you to essentially open and repo into, so it might take a bit of time. What it is doing behind the scene is essentially spawning we integrate with GitHub, obviously, spawning a virtual environment for you in the cloud, connecting to that repo and open that in the VS Code in your browser. Okay, so this is kind of functional environment, completely built with everything. You have a terminal prompt in here, so you're good to go to contribute, right? So this is one of the things that we try to do is that put enough guardrails around you so that you don't get lost and stay focused to what's more important, that is adding value to this project. Okay, I would encourage all of you to kind of take benefit of these features. I'm going to pause now and see if any questions. Okay, so the structure is quite similar every week. Okay, go ahead. Is there a question? Okay. So the structure is pretty similar. Again, week 2, every week has a theme. You can see that also on the sidebar. This is a brand new design we did. I like this, where it's going to talk about what you're going to learn about this. And it's going to give you, we actually did also something interesting, I thought, which is integrated with 80/20. Sometimes you might say, oh God, I like this topic, I want to learn more. You can always deep dive with 80/20. That means if you click this, you can create your own separate roadmap to even deep dive and explore this topic further. Again, you're going to get suggested. So one thing I want to do is make it very clear here, these are all suggested projects. Okay. If you don't feel like that, and we try our best, I don't like this thing popping up every time here. Maybe we should do something about this. So we do suggest based on what interest we see in your profile. If my profile has a JavaScript, that's why this kind of projects are popping up here. If you don't find anything, don't freak out. You can always go to open source here. You can dive into anything that you like here. This is also another issue that is suggesting. If you want to explore with categories, there is categories in here. You could say, some people say front end. You can say, okay, I'm interested in front end projects, and it's going to give you a list of front end projects that we track. Okay. And you could say, okay, this thing looks very, very interesting. I want to find out what's happening here. So we're going to click view issues. There are lots of issues in here. You can click through this. Serialize performance, get knowledge, update generate URL to retrieve. Sounds like a relatively simple one. Let me tackle this. So you can go here. The issue is going to get loaded. Unfortunately, this issue doesn't have enough description. Then you can say, okay, I want to contribute to this project. Okay. One thing you have to remember here is we only recognize that projects that are hosted or tracked by our platform. So for an example, if you cannot create your own open source project. And you can, obviously, you can, but for this internship purposes, you cannot create your own open source project and create a pull request and merge the pull request. We will not recognize those. We only recognize the projects that are tracked by our platform. Something important to remember. Okay. So again, if we do our best to suggest projects here, but if you feel like that, no, this is not, week one, you have to do this too. From week two onwards, you're free to pick whatever projects that we track. If you don't find anything, I'm sorry, I'm repeating this, but it's very important. If you don't find any issues that you think is interesting to you, you can always go to open source and search one project and find an issue. Now, from week two, a similar thing continues for week 3 and week 4. Okay, similar stuff. That's it. From week 2, that means later this week or beginning of next week, we're going to be selecting few folks among you to try out TOS agent. Again, the reason that we are doing this is that there is a huge demand, and also this tool is fairly new, early stage. We just want to control that experience a little bit. And the third thing is that everyone that will get access to the TOS agent will also get $10 to $20 credit. So there is also money involved a little bit. That's also limiting our numbers. But from week 2 onwards, we'll start getting access to TOS agent that I'm going to talk about a little bit now here shortly. That whoever gets access to TOS agent are free to use that agent on any open source project they like, to help them assist with the contribution. I'm assuming that will 10x your process here in terms of contribution. That's kind of in a nutshell summary and mechanics of how this internship is going to work. Oh, there is one more thing. There are a couple of things going to happen. Like I think Precious is going to talk about that. I think we're going to be setting up check-in calls every week. Again, like I said, this is a small group. You want to have a very close net experience. Check-in calls, and we're also getting open source mentors that will come down, talk about their projects and answer any questions you have. That's it. Precious, should I talk about the TOS agent now, or answer any questions? Maybe see if anyone have a questions. You guys can hear me, correct? I lost already.
Yeah, we can hear you, Neil.
Okay, go. All right, any questions, fellas? Vijay, what we gonna do? Sorry. Hi, Vijay. Yeah, go ahead. Who has a question? Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask that I am mostly working on my Python programming language only. So this on this
Yeah.
platform there are yeah.
Uh, Elijah, could you mute your mic, please? Yeah, Shantanu, go ahead.
As I was telling, I was mostly working on my Python programming language only. So I'm not much experienced related to another programming language. Like on your platform, TypeScript and everything is mentioned, I guess. So
Yeah,
how can I use
so for
means?
an example, yeah, totally. So you can come, you can search for, you can use the actually chat feature here. Show me some Python projects with AI. So it's going to list a bunch of Python projects for you. I don't know why it lists this one. They definitely use Python somewhere. If this search is not enough for you, you can always search by category. There is a category for Python projects. I also heavily use Python. So, oh man, this is one of the lovely projects, dude. You should totally look into this. I use this module heavily. So Pydantic, you're going to have lots of Python projects in here. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, definitely. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Any other question? So there was a question on the chat here. I want to make sure I understand this.
Yeah, one.
Vijay, what we will in this internship? Vijay, the question is, what are we going to do in this internship? Is that the question?
I,
So,
I believe that's what he's.
so the
I believe that's what he's trying to say. Yeah.
question. Yeah, the question. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to help open source community. How are we going to help them? We're going to help them by contributing to their project. How are we going to be contributing to their project? We're going to be using this internship as a guide to help us, as a first timer to open source, to help us, oh God, I got a weak one, help us contributing to the open source. So every week, what you're going to be doing is that you're going to be learning about open source using this content, and you're going to be taking one of these assignments and you try to complete them. Each of the assignments is nothing but identifying the open source project that you like based on your interest, maybe Python, like the Santanu said, or maybe JavaScript, and find an issue that project is having. Those issues, these are all the issues that are listed here. Maybe that was not clear. So when we list an assignment, we actually list issues. So for an example, Aspire project in JavaScript is having issue with their tests, saying that flaky event hub test in test endpoint return okay. So let's see what the issue is. This is the issue. They're having some issue. Their tests are failing with error messages timeout. So your objective or your mission, if you choose to accept, is to fix this issue for this project. Once you fix this issue, the process of fixing issue is that you're going to be creating a pull request. One of the team members of that project going to review your pull request. If they like it, and if they think that your pull request is solving their problem, they will merge the pull request. When they will merge your pull request, our tool will immediately get a notification, and we will mark that your week is complete and you'll get a street cred. But as you going through the process, there is another important thing that's happening, which I think is something that we all care about. Is in the process, you now gaining a real world experience, you learning how to work with remote distributed teams, you're learning how to use GitHub, you're building your professional network. So at the end of the day, it will make you a better developer, it will improve your job prospects, and there are tremendous other benefits that I shared before because that's how I started my journey. I hope that answers your question. Can you explain the process of how we can get to understand the project before contributing so that we can understand the issue and then contribute? Yes, Sahil, there are a couple of things that we do for that. Obviously, try to read the documentation. This is, so look at the tips section of the issue tips. We usually try to summarize if we have access to their content. If not, this is a great question, by the way. If not, you look at the project docs that's linked here. You can go to their documentation. Their documentation, definitely understand the documentation. Contribution guideline, how you should contribute. All this are very, very important. Don't ignore them, okay? We want to save the maintainers time because everyone who works on an open source project is doing it for free. Nobody's paying them. Most of them at least get doing it for free. So last thing we want by creating a pull request is adding more work for them. Okay, as I have been in the past open source maintainers, I hate it when I see pull requests and say, well, this guy didn't even take 5 minutes to read the contribution guidelines, right? So make sure you follow this. This is also another thing you guys need to learn. The community, always remember there is a people behind this. Try to understand that. That's important. So anyway, so your step one is if you're diving into a completely unknown project, and this is where I think our agent will help tremendously. But if you don't have access to the agent in the meantime, what you can do here is that make sure you go through all the docs here, understand the project guidelines, understand how they work. Every team is different. They have their own way of doing things. So make sure you understand that. Then look at the tips, make sure after reading all this, if you're like, oh, this is the project, I love this, guys, I want to contribute. Look at the tips, then go through all the issues. And let's say you found this issue saying, okay, I love automated testing, I want to fix this. Okay. So you have to read the issue carefully, obviously, carefully. Read the issue carefully. You have no idea how many times I've come through this that ask questions on the mailing list without even reading the issue properly. Then if that's clear, that's great. If not, Copilot is always here. It's gonna break down that issue. It actually digested all this for you already. Okay, parsed, analyzed this already, and give you, if you want to save time, give you specific instructions of what all things you need to do, including file names and stuff. Then you dive in and contribute. Does that answer your question? If the there is another trick I would recommend you guys to do, which is pick a project you guys use. Okay, if you don't use Aspire, going back to Aspire and contribute is going to be hard. Like I was showing Python. I was showing this Padentic, right? I use this library all the time. Actually, our TOS agent uses this. So I kind of know how this library works. It will be much easier, relatively easier. I know this is a very complicated library. Relatively easier for me to at least understand what this issue means because I've been using this tool. So that should be your first step. That means if you are using React.js or somebody says Tailwind, find Tailwind and find issues. I know we track Tailwind. We have Tailwind here. Find issues in Tailwind because you already know the library, you know how it works. It will be much easier. In fact, you will like to do it because that's the best way to contribute. Hey, I like this library. I want to help this library grow. Let me contribute. Because that should be fast. If not, if you still, for an example, it happens to me all the time. If you still like, No. I want to get into GPT. I want to do stuff that, where is that? I want to do, I want to get into AI projects. This is because this is the hardest thing. I want to get involved in whatever things are doing here. Open LLM. It's Python. Okay, I know the language or LLM. I've been using LLM. This would be a really good one to contribute. Then you can dive in. Now, there is an bug in Llama 3.1b here. Okay, then those are should be some of the criterias to do. Okay, any other question before I hand over to Precious? But there are lots of contributors in such project like Tailwind. Yeah, sure there is. Are the projects valuable for Hacktoberfest since the duration is similar? Actually, that's true. So this is another interesting thing. We should tag it. I think the beginner friendly will tag this definitely. I'll double check. Start with beginner friendlies here. These are the projects that are specifically tagged for looking for a new contributor. So you're going to have a higher success rate contributing to this project. In every open source project, are prepared for Hacktoberfest. They know they're going to get lots of open source contributors, new contributors contributing to it. So timing wise, we are perfect right now. You're going to have a higher chance of people actually looking at your pull requests and marching pull requests because of this is at Hacktoberfest. I'll keep a note to see that if we're going to optimize to make sure all the issues that's tagged with Hacktoberfest bubbles up here. But you should have higher success using all of this stuff here. But this is a great one. Jump in, whoever wants to. 2 days ago created is already fixed, probably. A documentation fix. This could be a relatively easy one to contribute. Anyway, okay. Don't worry as you take through this process. Trust the process. As you walk through this process, once you start talking to, and once you read through the content, lots of questions that you guys are asking will be answered in the content anyway. This is a good one. The good question here. I just saw a project I'm interested in now. I clicked on contribution and was talking to the project GitHub page. Do I comment that I'm interested before making contribution? Absolutely, you should. Again, those things are all mentioned in the content that you're going to be reading as your learning materials this week. Before contributing, always make sure the ideal process should be you should give the maintainer heads up saying, hey, I'm interested in the contribution, and see if the maintainer can assign the issue to you. That way, when the issue is assigned, no one else going to pick it up. So that's one way to get an exclusive kind of window on an issue so that you are the only one who's working on it. All right, Precious, over to you.
All right. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nelania, for that extensive session. And those asking about the meeting, if it's being recorded, the meeting is being recorded, and um, we are going to upload the recording on YouTube. So please kindly follow our YouTube channel for the recording. Also, I dropped the link to join our Discord channel. So please, when you join our channel, there is a channel named AIOS Internship. Please make sure you join that channel because that is where we'll be having conversations about this internship. Make sure you join that channel so you don't we don't disturb other people on the channel using this conversation. We over 3,000 people in that community. We don't want to disturb other people who are having a quiet time and then also doing other stuff. So, but if you have any question, you can ask it on that channel. I'm going to be there always. Nilanjan will be there. Josh and other of our team members will be there. If you're having any technical issues, we are going to solve it from there. So I'm going to also post it on the general channel after this call so that you can see link where you can just click and join that channel. All right. So I also want to encourage you to share your internship progress. You make a contribution, kindly share on social media, tag us. We are going to retweet, just to help you gain visibility. We have this talk on building in public. You might want to listen to it. If you explore our YouTube channel, you're going to see a lot of interesting topics that we've done during our master classes or during our previous class. We've done topics on AI, topics on building in public, topics on how to use GitHub. So you might want to go over those topics again. Just explore the YouTube channel, right? So please, if you have any question at all, reach out to me, reach out to Nilanjan, ask. It's important. If you ask, you get faster answers when you ask the question in that AIOX channel, right? If you ask a question there, you're going to get faster answers than when you come to my DM, because sometimes I get like a whole lot of DMs and I don't get to see everybody or reply everybody on time. But once you ask it there and tag me, I'm going to respond to you, right? So I don't know if there is any other question from anyone. Also, I think Melangan talked about access to Tublian OS. Hi, Neil, did you mention that to them? I think I was the network kicked me out at some point. Hi, Neil, did you explain the gamification?
I vaguely mentioned. So the TOS agent is a autonomous AI agent that we built. If you are interested, I think we did a community demo a few weeks back. It should be on our YouTube channel. I want to be respectful for everyone. And if you're interested, I can do it now also. But it's an autonomous AI agent that we've been um, building in
Yeah,
sleep mode for a while
if
internally.
you can do it
We
10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes. I mean, maybe you should just quick overview. And yeah, for those that are interested, they can
okay,
now
okay, sure.
indicate interest later when we ask them to.
Okay, yeah. Express your interest. Okay, sure. This is what the um, so we call so one of the things that we are building for all our community member, and soon we will be, I'm hoping to make it available for everyone, is as as the industry fundamentally is changing in terms of how we build software. I know some of you are already doing third year, fourth year. This is something you guys should even pay more attention to, because by the time you're going to graduate, the industry is going to look very, very different. And unfortunately, I don't think our universities and colleges are ready for this yet. So anyway, so one of the things that we do is redefine how we build software. Even though we mention lots of AI and stuff, even though feel like some part of the world is trying to replace engineers using AI agents and bots and whatnot, we have a different theory. Our theory is engineers going to still be relevant. In fact, I would argue they're going to be more important, because anything and everything that can run software will run software, because it's going to be abundant, right? The intelligence is going to be abundant. So what we're trying to do is that to seize that opportunity of the demand, that huge influx of demand for custom software, we need to figure out how we can scale development. So that's what this operating system is all about. One of the things that we do is, do we have that? Yeah. So one of the things that we are trying to do with this is that how can I, or how can we empower you so that you alone can build $1 billion business? I make that statement. Lots of people think I'm crazy, but that's kind of my vision. We want to empower individual developers running $1 billion business. and I think that's possible. And the way we want to do that is building an operating system. So imagine you being in the center, and you have this army of agents, minions. If you have seen Despicable Me, right? Minions working for you, and that's what we want to enable. So what that means is that means that you focus on what you're passionate about. Maybe doing Python, or maybe really writing AI algorithms. Then for everything else, we are building agents. So this is a kind of multi-agent approach. So this is also kept in mind in designing how I see the world a little bit, which is I'm generally very introvert, right? So I'm not really good at sales. So why can't I build an biz dev agent that will do that for me, right? This biz dev agent that we want to work on will go out into various marketplaces, find projects for you while you sleep, right? You wake up and you'll see, okay, here's a couple of interesting projects I found for you. Your PM agent, for an example, can manage the projects for you, because I don't want to do Jira management. I don't want to write old stories, right? It can do that for you. Estimator, for an example, can help you do an estimation of the project. Specifically, when you are a freelancer bidding for a project, this is one of the really hard problem. Like, what should I estimate? Because based on estimate, your price gonna matter. If you bid too high, then you're gonna lose on the other guy. This marketplace concept is going to come eventually, because the way the world is changing, I do believe majority of us going to become a freelancers in the future. So that's the whole idea of building this. So
Yeah.
every developer slash freelancer is going to have this operating system.
Thank you very much, Neil. So we still have a session coming up next week, Monday. So we're going to have sessions every Monday, and then next week we're going to really talk extensively about AI and then how you can use this to contribute to open source. So we don't make this meeting so long. Yeah. So next week Monday we'll be talking
Okay,
about this. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was wondering about.
Yeah. So today you guys should just for the next 1 week, make your first contribution is obviously the easiest contribution. And then within the week, we are going to drop, maybe after Monday class next week, we are going to drop a link for those that are interested in Tublian OS to have access to this AI. If you're interested, there are some requirements you need to meet. There are some hardware requirements and software requirements. If you meet these two requirements, we are going to send you access, and then you use it, and everybody's not going to get access, and it's not going to affect your internship. So we're just going to get like few people because there's some requirements required, and we can't give access to everybody because this is still in test mode, right? So yeah. I think that should bring us to the end of today's session. I don't know if any other person have any other question, any question that you want to ask. We've spent an hour on this call. Would you please provide YouTube link? Yes, I will provide YouTube link. The meeting is recording and I'll provide YouTube link. So yeah. Okay, so since there is no other session, no other call, no other question, we are going to meet again next week. I will send the duration of this internship is 4 weeks. So for the whole of October, tomorrow is the official start date. But you can start working on it today. Maybe you want to make your first contribution today, you want to make contributions today, you can go on and start making contributions. What you are required is to watch all those materials on the website. Make sure you go through all of them, read them. It's for your own good, and then make at least one contribution for this week. The contribution needs to be merged. I think that is another thing. I think Niranjan explained it, but I wanted to highlight it again because I've seen a situation where someone made about 5 contributions and none of them was merged because maybe the maintainers of that open source project thought that, oh, these are not good contributions, or they just didn't see it, or they didn't have time to review those contributions. So please make contributions that needs to be merged. You can take a cue from what I think someone asked, should I drop a comment before making that contribution? Maybe you should drop a comment. In the past, someone reached out to the maintainers. The maintainers loved what she was doing, and then they told her to keep contributing. And she just contributed. She made 4 contributions on one project, and then that was how she made it to the end of the internship. So please, um, I'm going to drop the link to the server on the Discord, on the general. You will see it on the general. I will drop the link. Hi, Julius. I will drop the link. So don't worry about yourself. I will drop the link. So, guys, so please, this week, just focus on doing your first contribution. Next week, we are going to talk about other things and we're going to talk about AI heavily next week. So, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate them. See you guys next week. You're going to get a calendar invite for next week call. So, when you get the invite, you don't feel, yeah. So, but before we go, one last thing before we leave. One last thing. Is my camera working now? It should be working now. So, guys, one last thing before we go. Oh, can we share our screen? Like, can we show our faces? I wanted us to take a picture, but sorry, my camera is not working. But can you guys show your camera? Turn on your camera, everyone. Let's just take a quick selfie before we leave. One last thing for the day. Can you all turn on your cameras? Cameras. Nobody's turning. Okay, hi Elijah. Nice to see you. My camera is not working. Damn. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to uninstall this software. All right. So let's take. So if you from your end, please take a screenshot and you can drop it on Discord so that other people can use to make a post. So I'm trying to take some screenshots here also. So guys, show your camera if you can. Let's take some pictures. Just to remember your first step into open source. For some people, this is going to be their first step into open source. Yeah. So from your end, take a quick screenshot and then please post. I'm only seeing one person's camera on though. What's going on? All right. So I think that should be enough. Thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you very much for coming out. See you next week. Everyone, see you next week. And then also see you on Discord. Let's chat on Discord and see you next week. If you have any issue, don't hesitate to reach out to me. All right. Yeah. So bye bye and enjoy the rest of your day.